you struggling with taking your crank arm off? I'm going to show you how to remove your bike crank arm quick and easy. I'm going to toss in a couple hard-earned tips and tricks along the way. Hey, David here with DIY Mountain Bike. I work part-time at a bike shop and get to play with all kinds of bikes that have all kinds of problems. Taking off, I don't know if it's 1,000, but hundreds of crank arms at this point. And I've learned a couple things along the way, and I'm going to share them with you. Couple of them are going to help you out significantly. First one we're going to talk about is if the idea is to switch over to a 1x system versus a 3x, take your pedals off first. It's going to make everything so much easier. It's really difficult to take your pedals off once that crank arm is off the bike. I am doing a 1x conversion. Yes, this is for all you 1x haters. I'm getting away from that 3x. Let's get this pedal off. Remember, back to remove back off. Now what you can do is act like you're pedaling. Once you get that loosened up. All right, we got our pedal off. Let me get you in here close. I'm gonna show you the next steps. So the tools, a crank puller. This is just a cheapy one on Amazon. $5 or less you can get one. A wrench. Usually you're going to need a 15mm. You might need a little screwdriver to pop off that cover and a little bit of spray. I like to put a little bit of WD-40 just to break anything loose that might be rusted. So pop off your dust cover. Usually you're going to have a 14mm nut inside here. So with a tool like this one, you've got the socket built right in. Tighten it down. And then this is a standard thread direction, right? So you just go righty tighty lefty loosey. So let's loosen this up. That was pretty nice in that that bolt was not that tight. I like that. All right, make sure your washer comes out with your bolt. Sometimes you might have a bolt that looks like this. In this case, you'll have to use probably, I think that's either a 6 or an 8mm. Next, look in there and make sure you don't have anything obstructing the access to that square taper bottom bracket. So right in the middle is our bottom bracket spindle, and that's where our bolt just came out of. Next step, I want to take you over to the bench and I'm going to show you a little tip. So I've got a couple loose parts here. This is called the bottom bracket, right? These are those bearings in the bottom bracket shell of your bike. And here's what your crank looks like. Let's concentrate on this crank for a minute. When you thread your puller in, like so, you've got to make sure that your pin, this is what's pushing the crank arm off that center spindle. That pin has got to be able to fit inside of that square opening, right? If you can see that, that fits inside there. Some pullers come with optional tips. If you've got an optional tip like this, it may not fit into that opening. A lot of times you can take that tip off and it'll fit into that opening and push on that spindle, right? Another little hack, so when everything's put together, looks something like this. I will sometimes take a small screw, drop it into that opening, and then I'll use my puller to push against that screw head. Why do I do that? It's really easy for this pin to really muck up the threads in that bottom bracket. That little bolt will help protect those threads, and it gives your puller a nice surface to push against. So let's go back over to the bike. We're going to quickly put a little bit of WD-40 on that taper in there. That little screw I talked about, I'm going to slide that in just to make sure I got a good surface to push against. I'm going to back the push pin off in my puller. thread in my puller. This should go on easy. You don't want to cross thread this or else you're going to ruin the whole assembly. Finger tight. Give that a little bit more of a turn. Don't go crazy there. Just more than finger tight. Tighten up our puller. Get your wrench. And then work. Oh, that is nice. That's buttery. I thought that was going to be buttery smooth. I like to get the wrench in these locations. It gives me a chance to work both of these arms against each other. When I say both the arms, the crank arm and the wrench. Then you'll feel it release. That's it. We've got our crank arm off. If this video helped, I would love it if you subscribed. And also, up above, I got a video that I did reviewing this exact crank puller tool. Love this tool. It's got the socket. It's got everything you need to take these cranks off smooth and easy. As always, keep pedaling.